What up everyone, it's your man Xman87 here, bringing you another Marvel Legends wishlist video, and what I have for you today is my top 10 Marvel Legends direct-to-consumer wishlist. But before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's talk about it. Alright, it's been a minute. Been busy with a lot of personal matters in my life, which is why there's been a lack of content. I know some of you have been expecting reviews from me, so sorry guys, but that's why I never promise anything. Gotta take care of myself first, but today's podcast episode will be a good long one for your listening or a viewing pleasure. So this is one I've had in the works for a bit, just never got around to it, and so I'm excited to talk about it. And now's the perfect timing for this video since a new made to order is on the way, so hopefully I get to see one that's on my list here. Ever since Marvel Legends introduced the direct-to-consumer formula last year at San Diego Comic-Con with Dragon Man and New York Comic-Con with the X-Men 97 Sentinel, followed along by this year's Mephisto, it's safe to say that it's been a more proven successful formula over the HasLabs. None of that stress and anxiety attached to FOMOs, such as if it'll fund or not, if it's going to hit tiers or not, high pricing, needing to make a full deposit at a certain time, and any other factor you can make a case for, etc., etc. This made-to-order system has been a more consumer-friendlier approach, which is something I've been saying for the longest time they should have done over HasLabs, and glad they paid attention. Keeping things priced under $200 in between the $85 to $175 range. And so Dan Yoon took to Twitter the other day, teasing another made-to-order with a question to leave suggestions and open requests. Word is already speculating that another reveal might be coming as soon as this upcoming New York Comic-Con. This would make sense and follow the trending pattern of last year with Dragon Man and Sentinel being revealed at San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. So this year we already got Mephisto revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. So another direct reveal at New York Comic-Con is most likely bound to happen, and we could possibly expect this trend of direct reveals to follow every year at the same events. So what's next for Marvel Legends Direct? By the way, when I call it direct, it's just short for direct to consumer, so it's just easier to say that than to say it in full or saying made to order. Don't think they came up with a permanent name yet other than made to order, but let's label it Marvel Legends Direct. It sounds cooler, plus Mattel already has their thing called made to order, so it's just, I think they should just be different and call it something other than made to order. But anyways, back to my question, what's next for Marvel Legends Direct? I have a list of 10 here that would make sense. I'll be realistic with y'all. I don't see a Fin Fang Foom, Apocalypse, Final Form Onslaught, or a Blackbird as a direct. Those would be way too pricey, and knowing Hasbro, they would seek maximum profit for those as they would fund instantly, I believe. So those I'm leaving off this list, but something like the Return of the Engine of Vengeance is one I could very well see as a stripped down version of Robbie Reyes with the Hellcharger at a much lower price. But we'll see how they'll bring in larger vehicles again. I've actually excluded vehicles on this list for now, so no Robbie Reyes, Hellcharger, Fantastic Car, or even Big Wheel, but I'll do vehicles on a separate list for another video. I think that would make for a great video. And today, just stay focused on characters only, whether they are a person or a different type of creature. So let's go over a quick roll call of my honorable mentions. I have Krakoa, Nimrod Sentinels, Stature, Terminus, the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse, Devil Dinosaur, and Moon Girl. All of these would make for some good direct figures. Devil Dinosaur with a Moon Girl packed in would make for a great display in a Savage Land. We see Mattel make great dinosaur figures in their Jurassic World line, so it would be cool to see Hasbro take a crack at a dino. Then the Four Horsemen of Apocalypse is offered better this way over tiers in an Apocalypse HasLab, because if he does become a HasLab, you don't have to worry about only getting 1, 2, or 3 of the Horsemen in case it doesn't fully fund. You want a complete all of them, so you can get all 4 with their respective creatures to ride on, hopefully. But for my top honorable mention, I have to give it to armor. This was originally on my list, but after careful consideration, I'm not so sure it would be a direct. I could see it being a premium oversized deluxe, kind of like why I didn't put Annihilus on this list. I just don't see Annihilus as I see him being an oversized deluxe as well. I mean, what would make him a direct? His wings? We had that with the Venom and Null 2-pack. I mean, unless they do something where it's like Dragon Man, where he has 2 sets of wings that are non-articulated with a pair of folded down and folded out wings, and make him the way I wanted him, like the canceled Selects one, where we get a separate figure of his alien body outside of the armor with the Cosmi Rod and effects, then I say yeah. And not saying he won't be a direct, it's possible, I just don't see it at the moment. Anyways, I'm so curious how they would execute something like armor. It's a person that's visible through translucent armor. A BAF or a deluxe simply wouldn't cut it. The truest way for me is to have a full-fledged articulated figure of Hisako Ichiki that you can insert in a fully articulated exoskeleton body that's translucent. So her psionic armor would have to be huge in order to put her entire body in so you can see her completely through the armor. That's the way to pull it off. Think of the recent G.I. Joe classified Cobra mech where you can put a Cobra officer figure inside. Picture something like that, but in all translucent pink. I think that Snake mech also had a light up feature, I believe, so adding a light up feature to give it that glowing aura illusion it had from the comics would really take it to centerpiece levels. It would make for an amazing visual on the shelf. This way you have both Hisako in her X-Men outfit to display, powered down, and the body armor that's fully posable. Nothing cheap looking where you would just see her face in the armor if she was done as a BAF or whatever. I'm talking about getting her done in the best and truest way possible. If they do what I say here, then I definitely see it as a direct. But let me know how you think armor will be made as. As a huge Astonishing X-Men fan, I had to have this mentioned here even if she didn't make the list. So she's my top honorable mention. Now let's kick off this top 10 list, and if you're expecting an X-Men heavy list because, I'm a hardcore X-Men fan, then surprisingly, it's not. It's actually very Asgard heavy, but I cooked here, so without further ado, let's get ready to count down. Kicking things off at the number 10 spot, I have the Kree Sentry. As much as I love the BAF because it was like holding a piece of Jack Kirby's art in your hands, I still feel that we need larger ones that are the proper size. I don't need it to be 20 plus inches, though I wouldn't mind, but 16 to 18 inches would be the sweet spot for these guys. But if they wanted to go 20 plus inches, then maybe reusing the X-Men 97 Sentinel arms and legs can already help them out with shared parts from already existing tooling. I have a feeling this could happen, which is why I didn't invest in army building more BAFs. Maybe have a Kree soldier packed in to entice more army building? These would take my cosmic shelf to the next level. At number 9, Ultimo. This is one of my most wanted villains ever, and one I want to put in my Iron Man shelf display so bad. I honestly don't mind which version they make because I like them all. Preferably classic, but I still would take his modern version. I was replaying Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 not too long ago, and when I got to the Ultimo boss battle, I said, wouldn't it be cool to get a supersized Ultimo figure just towering over your Legends figures? Ultimo wouldn't just make a great addition to your Iron Man display, but a great addition to those gargantuan Marvel villains in your Legends display. A top of the list villain for me. Who else is down for Ultimo? At number 8, so this is one that's hard for me to decide for the number 8 spot, but I'm going to go with 2 slots here for 8A and 8B because my picks here have that same formulaic packaging, so I'm cool with either one of these. And first I have Valkyrie and Grain. Who said we can't have 2-packs for made to order? I don't think multi-packs are off the table. Long have I waited for an updated classic Brunilda, the Valkyrie with her winged horse grain. If there is any female character that deserves to be the first in the Marvel Legends Direct line, it's the Asgardian goddess herself. I want her in her classic attire. I think Power Princess would work for some shared parts mixed with some new parts. Then a fabric wired cape to go with it, and I'm good. Then for 8B, I would have Hela with Fenris. Just like Valkyrie with her flying horse, let's include another immortal beast pack with Fenris. The G.I. Joe Classified line does a great job with their animals, and I love to see Legends take a page out of their book because there's so many amazing animals in Marvel that would make for great action figures for play and display. Fenris is the perfect animal to be packed in with Hela. When I think of the Mephisto offering, I also think of it as a way to give fans a second chance at something. The 2015 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive book of Ashanti set was incredibly hard to acquire and just went for a shit ton of money on the aftermarket. They offered everyone a second chance at Magic, Dr. Voodoo, and even Dormammu as a bat from the same set, but not Hela yet. We already have an MCU one, but we need an updated comic Hela with the upgraded torso. The cape was still fabric, which was nice, but a wired one would be even better. Give her accessories like multiple heads, hands, and effects, and we are talking. Plus, having Fenris would be great for both comic and MCU collectors, especially for MCU collectors for the fact that they can put Fenris on their movie displays. Just gotta make him huge to make it worthy as a direct offering. The highlight on these would be Grain and Fenris. I could just imagine Grain. A highly articulated animal figure with the wingspan on that horse will look crazy, and a flight stand should be included for support. Fenris would look intimidating charging at Grain with the two Asgardian ladies mounted on their respective animals. I'm dying to put something like this on my Thor shelf. Number 7, Frost Giants. Marvel Universe made some awesome 12-inch Frost Giants that complement the 6-inch Marvel Legends line so well. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they were 12 inches again, if updated, but this is the time to make them bigger. 12 inches would be a good scale for MCU Frost Giants, perhaps, if they ever made them. But for the comics, just like I said with the Kree Sentries, 16 to 18 inches would be a good sweet spot. But if they can push for 20, then even better. At number 6, Surtur. Yeah, the Asgardian display just keeps rolling here. This is one of these where it can be toggled between HasLab or Direct. But I don't see it being a HasLab, even though he has the credentials being a larger-than-life character that I mentioned previously in the likes of Fin Fang Foom, Final Form Onslaught, Apocalypse. Those will get instantly funded. A comic Surtur, I don't think he's a draw like all of the above. His MCU figure was on clearance right away, and by the way, I think that's a good figure and is used as a great substitute for a comic stand-in on the Thor display. It had good height at 13 inches tall, but come on, didn't scale big enough to be passable for the MCU's actual height. In the comics, he's 1,000 feet tall or something like that, so I think the goal should be for the Legends team to not worry about going scale for scale. Just make it scalable in a toyetic way where he looks like a hulking giant, but don't overdo it with the scale. Because if they do him at 16 or 18 inches tall, he's going to look bigger if they make him wide and massive. Got to consider his long tail that'll be bendy wire, and his Twilight Sword will also be long, so he's going to take up so much real estate on a display. So from a smaller devil in Mephisto to a bigger devil in Surtur, Direct is where most of their demonic characters will land. So somewhere between 16 to 20 inches for Surtur would do just fine. But my god, can you imagine the day we have Curse, Frost Giants, the mythical beasts like Grain, Fenris, Surtur, throw in Ymir on the same shelf with the 85 years Odin? Then our Marvel Legends just turned into a Mythic Legions display at that point. At number 5, you know I had to have him on here, Goliath. Hasbro already did one at the 12-inch scale in the Marvel Universe line, and then again in 6 inches, reusing the Bucky Cat mold. Hasbro should go for the Toy Biz Giant Man Bath scaling at 13.5 inches and call it a day. Let this be the blank base body for any characters of this stature for any future direct releases, because let's be realistic, guys. They are going to need a blank giant buck to reuse in order to get us more of those characters we want who fit the bill and pave the way for guys like Atlas of the Thunderbolts and Titan of the Imperial Guard. One day I'd love to see a Bill Foster Goliath, as the Marvel Universe one looked very cool. Or a giant size Yellow Jacket. But Hank Pym in the blue and yellow Goliath costume is what I'd want the most. At number 4, Spider-Man PS5 Lizard, a Gamerverse Lizard. The more I think about it, the more I want it. No way was I not gonna have a Gamerverse on this list. And Legends is on a roll with Gamerverse. They're giving us some very big Gamerverse figures, and when I say big, I mean real big, with characters like Juggernaut and Shumagorath. They are delivering on scale, which means good news for that rumored Gamerverse Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Sentinel, which I expect will be a large one too. But I think that's just a small taste, as I do believe they intend to go bigger. The Spider-Man 2 PS5 Lizard was a freaking dinosaur, and he scaled 20 feet tall in the game. Again, a freaking dinosaur that you can end up putting him in a Savage Land display if you wanted to. Would they go 20 inches for this one? For in-game accuracy? Yes, they should. It's really the only way to get him right. When you look at him in game, he can pretty much swallow Spider-Man whole with one bite. Then he would have to have a long bendy tail, and that might add more to the size. So yeah, I don't know if they'll go a full 20 inches, considering the tail will add more to the size. They might scale it down some for that reason, but he has to be bigger than Venom. I've been hearing a lot of you in my comments saying you want to see more villains from Spider-Man 2 PS5 and Spider-Man 1 PS4, and I'm with you on that. Number 3, Cameron Hodge, one of my most wanted X-Men villains. This would be one of the wildest figures in the line because, I mean, look at him. He's made from the stuff of nightmares. He had one of those looks that tormented me as a kid when I was reading comics, and now I want to relive that nightmare in figure form because Cameron Hodge does deserve a figure. I remember when HasLabs first started, and I don't remember if it was a panel or an interview exactly, but I do remember when asked about if HasLabs were only set to be restricted at a certain high pricing, Dwight Stahl one time mentioned that, and I don't have the exact quote, so I can only paraphrase, but it was something along the lines of that he would love to do smaller scale HasLabs where it would be at the $50 price range, and specifically mentioned Cameron Hodge by name as a figure he would love to do. Well, we certainly wouldn't get it for $50 this time around because Hasbro loves to rip us off year over year, but certainly we can expect Cameron Hodge to be on the table for a direct. That would probably be a $100 figure, or maybe a little bit more if you ask me, because that's going to be an extremely technical and mechanical figure. It would be interesting to see how they tackle him because he looks like a mechanical scorpion. I can see him having a mixture of bendy wire and maybe even some die-cast parts. Die-cast would really make it feel next level if they want to take it there. I say they should. Do something new. We don't see them use die-cast. I know it's costly, but it would make this piece feel special. So it would be pretty pricey just visualizing it, but I ultimately think it'll be worth it in the end if done right. He's creepy, but I love creepy looking characters like this being made into figures. At number 2, Giganto with Moman. This is easily a top 3 for me. I still say this should be the next Marvel Legends direct reveal, especially with the release of the Fantastic Four movie this year. I want a comic Moman and Giganto, not a movie one. Even though MCU Giganto was comic accurate, you know what I mean. We need an updated comic Moman so bad, and what better way than to have him included with Giganto? I think I said before that Giganto would be fine at 20 inches. No need to go past that. Then adding in some tiny moloids for army building too would make army builders quite happy. Giganto and Mole Man would make for an exciting fun set for a future Marvel Legends open pre-order. At number 1, Man Spider. You know my top 3 Spider-Mans I've been wanting in Marvel Legends right now have been Battle Damage Spider-Man, Spider-Hulk, and Man Spider. Got Battle Damage checked off the list. Spider-Hulk will either be a deluxe or BAF if made, but Man Spider has direct written all over it. This is the time they can redeem themselves from that horrible 6-armed Spider-Man figure. They did a great job with Spyro, but this is one they need to calculate all the details into articulation. He's big enough for them to tool up a double diaphragm joint with all those 6 arms. That's been one of their flaws with characters that have multiple arms. They cheapen out on the diaphragm, which is the most important part of the figure to help support those multiple arms. If they can execute the double diaphragm with the butterfly joints at the upper torso, then they are in good position to deliver us a great action figure. This would make it the definitive Man Spider figure, as the Toy Biz one is just a staction figure, so I don't really count that. Honestly, I love the 90s retro Toy Biz Man Spider figure even more than that Toy Biz Spider-Man Classics one. I believe it was Spider-Man Classics. But here, they can really go all in here. With Man Spider's size, it should be a 10.5 inch tall figure. So same size as the Gamerverse Venom is ideal. A lot of tooling is required here because you need the tattered sculpting around his costume and the fur on top of that. Articulated toes can work for this too. Maybe articulated pincers at the mouth. That would be sick. So I definitely want this to be animated series inspired, as I'm sure they can make a cool displayable retro style box for him in the packaging. I'm just curious to know what they would include for accessories, because hands would be a lot to include for 6 arms. I'm sure I'll have multiple hands, maybe have some wild web accessories with them too. Maybe they can rectify that regular 6-armed Spider-Man by packing him in as well, by updating him correctly with an all-new sculpt that features the proper articulation for it and is better in line with some of the modern Spider-Man figures that they've been pushing out. But wouldn't that be something, having a set of the mutation evolution of Spider-Man in a 3-pack? I would definitely buy 2 to keep 1 in box if they did something like that. Sign me up any day for a Man Spider. Alright, that's a wrap. So now I kick it back to you. What do you think of my list here, and who would you like to see the most on my list? Also, give me your wish list on what you think would make for some great candidates in the made-to-order line. Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. Thanks for watching another Marvel Legends wishlist video. Please follow me on Instagram if you haven't already at xman87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. See you on the next video. Peace, peace.